What's going on, everybody? Hopefully, everyone's having a good week. Little impromptu live here in between calls, but I'll give it like 10, 15 seconds here usually. Well, it is around lunchtime, so I might have a few people that hop on. I actually do have time, so if you guys did have questions on the topic that I'm covering, or just questions in general, and you happen to be on the live, feel free to ask. I'll be checking the comments, and I do have a little bit of time to get to some Q&A if we have any questions from you all. But I'll dive right in. I feel like this is really important this time of year, and I see people make this mistake. I've been doing this for 7 years in the capacity that we do it in now with our coaching program, and I see this happen time and time and time again with people that I speak with. And I feel like when you look at stats, which is really sad, people that, and let me preface this by saying I have nothing wrong with setting New Year's resolutions. I think it's fine. Like, I think it's fine to set goals. Like, I think it's fine to say, hey, next year in 2024, I want this to be the best year ever in my relationships with, financial success, with my career, with my health and fitness. Nothing wrong with that whatsoever. And I'm doing this live to try to help you not be one of that, a statistic of that 80% of people that give up and fold up shop on their health and fitness New Year's resolution by February. Isn't that crazy? 80% of people who set a New Year's resolution in January have already given up come February 1st. Don't be that person. So, what I see here oftentimes is when I ask people, hey, you have this goal, you want to lose, 30 pounds, 40 pounds, you want to have a six pack, whatever, what's been the biggest struggle and challenge for you? 9 out of 10 times, in some way, shape, or form, they might not say this, but here's what I hear, and sometimes they even say it, so I hear it directly, but it's like putting things off, procrastination, making excuses, saying, I'm going to start Monday, I'm going to start the first of the month, I'm going to start the new year, right? And then months, or start with days, weeks, months, years go by, decades even, and nothing changes. And it's this mindset that's prevalent all the time, but especially this time of year where somebody has a little bit more justification because we're turning a calendar year here in what, 3 weeks, where it's like, why would I, eat well and work out now when I know January 1st, I'm going to smash it. Like, I'm going to finally lose the 40 pounds. I'm going to do this diet. I signed up for this gym. I'm going to take this class. I bought these supplements, right? And what happens is you're already in a hole because you're setting a fitness goal and something you want to achieve next year. And all you do these next 3 weeks is dig yourself further and further and further into a hole. So you have much longer and much further to climb out come January 1st, which is a real shame. What I mean by this is I see so many people, it's why the average person gains 10 to 15 pounds between, Thanksgiving and January 1st and New Year's Day. Because I see people time and time and time again fall into some really bad habits, really bad routines, zero consistency, no structure over the holiday season. And I know some of this is a little chaotic because you're maybe traveling for the holidays, you're spending time with friends and family, but most people I speak with, 95%, it's like maybe they get together with their family Christmas Eve, maybe they spend it with their immediate family Christmas Day. Like, it's not as much that people create in their head of how much they have going on. It's like just a story that they've told themselves. And again, it's the same pattern of behavior of putting things off or, creating, excuses where this time of year you might feel a little bit better about these justifications because literally everybody else out there is doing this exact same thing, which is again why 80% of people fail come February 1st. So, but what I mean by this is people oftentimes this year are drinking more than they normally do. Christmas parties and hanging out with friends, going out because people are going to do dry January. So, by God, I'm going to drink like a fish the next 3 weeks. They're not working out. They're not moving their body. They're sleeping in late because they got some time off work. I'm going to catch up on sleep and sleep until 10. Why would I wake up at 5? And people will do this for these next 2 or 3 weeks. And in their mind, they think, okay, January 1st, that's done. I'm going to completely change. I'm going to wake up at 4. I'm going to get my butt to the gym. I'm going to come back. I'm going to shower. I'm going to hit my meditation. I'm going to have my healthy breakfast. I'm going to have my smoothie. I'm going to spend 5 hours on Sunday meal prepping. And they put all this pressure on themselves, and they want to make a complete 180 life change come January 1, when in reality it's just another day. Yeah, the last one is a different, the last part of the date is a different year, but like you don't go to bed on the 31st and wake up a whole different person on the 1st. It's just a new opportunity. But in reality it's just another day. So like if you spend 2 or 3 weeks getting out of a routine and really, doing detrimental habits, or putting detrimental habits in place and behaviors, you're just setting yourself up to be a part of that 80% come January 1st, and you're making things so much harder for yourself. Really, like I can't stress this enough. I think I shared this a couple weeks ago that around this time last year I kind of did the same thing and stuff. It was the first Christmas that I had spent by myself, like with no family because of circumstance stuff. My sister was working or whatever. I didn't go back home to Iowa. It might have been my entire life, and I had, you know, like I just it was very lethargic. I like sat on the couch and like binged watched any Christmas movie you can think of. I probably watched it around this time last year, maybe not quite this time, more towards the back half of December. And I was setting these goals and things I wanted to accomplish in January and really get off to a fast start. And it took me like a good 3 or 4 weeks to just wake up at 4 a.m., get my butt to the gym like I normally do. Not drink quite as much, like dial in my nutrition, just because I let things get very, very lax on characteristic habits and behaviors for me the last couple weeks in December. And it took me a while to kind of get back into a routine and rhythm. And I see people in their health and fitness journey do this all the time. And like I said, it makes, accomplishing your goals and what you're setting forth to do in January and beyond next year so much harder. So what can you do about it? I think first off, recognize those habits and behavior and nip them in the bud if you can. If you find yourself sleeping in a little bit longer than you normally do, not getting to the gym, maybe over these next couple of weeks, if you have holidays, you're gonna be spending time with family, you got time off of work, you want to spend it with your kids, maybe you're going somewhere. I totally get that. Okay, you might not always be in your normal environment around the holidays, but control what you can control. I say this with our clients a lot. When the days you are at home, maybe you can't get to the gym 5 or 6 days a week like you normally do, but you can maybe still get there once or twice, or maybe 3 times, right? Maybe you don't have time to meal prep, but you can still like control that you're eating as healthy as you possibly can, given and despite your circumstances and where you might be located, right? You have to eat, so you can always control the nutrition. For the most part, you might have family members making you dinner, and you don't want to be that rude family member that says no to grandma's or your aunt Diane's pie. I get that, but again, make sure you're doing the basic things, and look at your life right now and where you're at and the goals that you set in health and fitness, and understand like, hey, who do I want to be on January 1? Do I want to be doing this January 1st? Is this going to help me get closer to my goals? And if you're drinking too much, you're eating like crap, you're not working out, you're sleeping in too late, I doubt those are going to be habits and behaviors you want on January 1st of next year, right? Probably don't serve you in reaching your health and fitness goals. So what I would do if I were you, it's interesting. We bring in a lot of clients in December because I think there's successful people understand the importance that there isn't on and off seasons with fitness. It's a 365. It isn't. I shared a post like this earlier today. It's like, just because it's the holidays, you don't sit there and say like, oh, it's the holidays, I'm gonna stop brushing my teeth, I'm not gonna shower, I'm not gonna spend any time with my kids. It's the holidays, I'll do that January 1st. No, because you've done those things for so long, they become a part of your identity and who you are as a person, and then you would feel very weird leaving the house and not brushing your teeth. People that are successful in fitness, that's how they feel. Like, that's how I feel. Not to be douchey or braggy, but like, if I don't work out, I don't eat right, I don't move my body, I do not feel like myself. It's just a part of who I am. I've been doing it for 20 plus years, right? So that's an important thing to realize, that like health and fitness is not an on and off switch. It's not a seasonality thing. Yeah, sure, there's times in life with your fitness where you can go a little bit harder, but it doesn't mean that like when things get, your environment maybe isn't ideal, it's like you just completely do nothing. Like, that just sets you up for this roller coaster And that's just not what successful people do. Just because you can't get to the gym 5 days a week like you ideally would like to, or maybe you normally do, does it still mean you can't go a couple times? Probably not. You know. So, but to come back to everything and wrap this up, I think if you can look at who you want to become January, like what goals are you setting? Become that person today. Don't put it off, and don't dig yourself further into hole. Just take some time hearing this. What I would walk away with if I were you, and the point that I'm trying to drive home is, think of the goals that you want to achieve next year. What are a couple habits that you can put in place right now that you on January 1st you're going to look back over these next 3 weeks and really thank yourself for? Think of that. Like January 1, you wake up and be like, I am so glad that over the last like 3 or 4 weeks, I've woke up when I said I'm going to do, and I still wake up early, right? Or maybe it's like, I am so glad that I've still went to the gym a couple days every single week. And I'm not like going for the very first time in a month on January 1st or 2nd, right? Maybe you might think, God, I am so glad that I've, started to get 10,000 steps in, per day, because instead of like just being a couch potato for 3 weeks, because I feel like I can do a little bit more cardio. I'm still like, my cardiovascular shape is still decent. So those are just a couple random examples, but truly ask yourself, the goals that you're setting for next year, health and fitness wise, what does that look like on January 1? What type of person do you want to be able to achieve those goals? And just take that and what life looks like on January 1st, and what behaviors and habits and actions will you be taking to have your goals come to fruition and crush your goals. Take one or two of those things, and what can you start today? Like I said, maybe it's getting 10,000 steps in. Maybe it's waking up when you say you're going to wake up, because next year you want to go to the gym, first thing in the morning. I don't know. Like only you can answer that. But and rant, I think that's important. But I see people get into a really bad place, over the holidays and stuff. And there's many different reasons why. But I think when you look at someone's habits and why the average person gains 10, 15 pounds over December, is because they slip into really, really bad habits. It's easy to do. It's easy to sit there and say like, well, January 1st, I'm going to do this and that. So like, F it for 3 weeks. I'm going to, drink like a fish and eat like a pig, right? It's very easy to tell yourself